the core, and tuck your chin to chest, go into pelvic curl, melt down the front of your body one vertebrae at a time here. Pause here at the bottom and see if you're about your usual distance to the floor. Nice big inhale and exhale here. And then think about where your kneecaps are and bend them over your first and second toe. Notice if you're bending your knees into your midline, we want them to track over the middle of your ankles and the middle of your toes, basically. Trying to get some blood and consciousness into the back line of our legs here. Okay, once knees are straight again, go ahead and pause. Go into that pelvic curl, tucking your tailbone under, and then stack up on top of your hips here. And see how that feels. Maybe a couple shoulder rolls at the top, so you get into all that sensory input of being upright. And then we're going to do one more. This time I'm going to stretch through the shoulders. You guys have done this with me quite a bit. Hopefully it feels nice and familiar. Still tucking that tailbone, activating the core. And then once you're down here, hands will grab on to opposite elbows and then take this left to right. And take it left to right. Noticing if you're tight in your waist, if you're tight in your lumbar spine, if it's tighter on the right or the left. It's just all good information gathering and how you're going to take care of yourself today and activate abs to support that soreness. Go ahead and tuck the tailbone and start stacking up one vertebrae at a time. Roll those shoulders down the spine towards your back pockets. And then once you're standing tall, give me a couple chin nods here. Good. Think of getting taller through the back of your head here, stretching out between your shoulder blades as you reach your head towards the ceiling and your chin into your throat. And we'll go 3 and 2 and 1. Okay. From here, let's go to seated, unless it's hard to see your camera. And then I'm going to have you go into flexion. So rounding the spine in a lengthening way and a small bit of extension here, opening up the front of your collarbones, maybe looking up to that corner where the ceiling and the wall connect. Stretching out the front of your throat and chest, pulling belly button to spine in both directions. We'll go 2 more sets. Inhale forward, exhale on back. Squeeze the shoulder blades down the spine. Inhale on forward, exhale on back. Open up your palms here and just hold this, squeezing your shoulder blades together. Let me know of any low back pain or any pain in general here. I might be able to modify it for you. Okay. And then loosen out of that and come back more to your upright, neutral spine posture here. And we're going to squeeze the shoulder blades together. Try and knit the front of your ribs together as well, so you're not flaring them. And we'll go 5 and 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. From here, let's take it into a nice side bend over to the right. Big inhale here. And then slowly exhale, take it to middle and over to the other side. Okay, and then a little more dynamically, exhale, pulse twice. Inhale through middle, exhale, pulse twice. Keep going. I'm going to make an adjustment on the computer. Good. Okay. And then pause in the middle. Hands can come back on shoulders again. They can stay out here if you're feeling like your shoulders are very healthy today, but be really careful of your wingspan and hitting a wall or any kind of furniture. And that's it, Reggie. You're inhaling through middle. Exhale, pulse twice, trying to ground those hip bones into your seat and twist that spine. It's still the warm up. Don't go too big, too quick. We'll do 1 more to each side. Check you're still in your chin knot here. Your neck hasn't turtled forward. Good. Go ahead and bring your palms out in front of you here. I'm scooching back so you can see my arms. I'm going to reach the right forward, back, left forward, and back. Trying to activate all of those muscles that can pull my shoulder blade down my spine and my arm bone back into the rotator cuff. Good. One more to each side. And then bring the fingers together, and you're going to slide one hand past the other. And I am bringing a bit of the thoracic spine with me. Little notes, I've bent my knees so that I can get back to that neutral spine where my hip bones are 90 degrees into the mat. Okay, and then pause. Let's open up to shoulder distance apart, and then really bring that thoracic spine with you. It's just twisting on your spinal axis here while getting those shoulder blades working. And my head's along for the ride. I'm not moving my head independently. Great. Hopefully that feels pretty good too after yesterday's workout. Okay, let's think into our feet here just a bit. So if you're on the floor or if you're in a chair, I just want you pressing heel, ball, toe, lifting up, heel, ball, toe, lifting up. And you can think of having a tissue on the floor that you're going to grab with your toes and pick up and then drop. We'll do that one more time this direction. Okay, and then you're going to go toes, ball, heel. Toes, ball, heel. For me, I feel my arches here. Don't take it to the point of cramping. Just trying to get aware of our feet and get the blood pumping. It's pretty far away from our brain, easy to forget about them. Okay, and then throw your right ankle over your left knee. And then you're gonna squeeze that foot out like a sponge. Okay. And then thread your fingers through your toes from the underside. So I'm on the underside of my foot. I'm not coming from the top. And then hopefully you can see how I've threaded my fingers through. Sometimes you're too tight and maybe you can get 3 fingers through. And just want you to think of breathing into your fingers, expanding the toes in a very reasonable fashion. Don't take this too big. Just where your toes are today, you're trying to support them, not punish them. Good. Okay, let's do that to the other foot. So I was on the right, switching to the left. If you were reversed, no biggie. And I'm just gonna squeeze this foot out like a sponge. I'm noticing how cold my toes are. Okay, and then going from the bottom of my foot, threading my fingers through. Again, if you only get 3 fingers, no biggie, no biggie. And then once your fingers are there, just slightly expand them as if you're expanding your lungs, that kind of breathing feeling. One more time. Good. Okay, let's return to sitting on our sit bones here. I'm just looking at where everyone is. This is a good time to be on the floor, get nice and adjusted. Maybe I'll go over props quickly here. If you can turn cameras so I can see you, then I can give you some cues and all that good stuff. Looking good. Okay, I'll always want you guys to have a hand towel or 2 around. That's really helpful. And then if you have a TheraBand, that would be wonderful too. I would say always have that nearby for classes. And then these squishy balls as well. I always have 1 or 2 nearby. They're great for like, oh, I need a pillow, I'm just gonna prop up, that kind of thing. And every once in a while, it's nicer to do a movement with the foam roller. So like if you have a container that's just easy to throw all this stuff in for a class, awesome. Okay, so sitting pretty tall here, but I'm on a slant. So I'm not in my C curve, I'm just here, okay? And then you'll put your hands underneath your thighs. If you have the squishy ball, why not use it? You can use a couch pillow instead. Maintain that flat back and go back, and then really use the abs to come forward. When you're doing that flat back, be careful you're not arched in your low spine, your lumbar spine here. That's not where I want you coming up. I want you hinging and using those low abs and upper abs here, okay? And then any assistance you need, you can put some pressure and grip behind your knees, your thighs here to come on up, okay? We're gonna do 2 more here. Really talk to your body to activate where I'm asking you to, not just passively letting whatever happen. Now we're gonna tuck the tailbone just a bit, but I'm still gonna be flat in my spine, lifting and lowering, okay? And then check on your hip flexors here. I'm having to talk to them and saying, hey guys, this is not about you, this is about the core here. And we're gonna go 4 more, and 3. Activate on that exhale. This is 2, and then 1. Okay, from here, come on down to your elbows, and then all the way back down on your back. So you're in a supine position here. I'm gonna turn around so you guys can see my head a bit better. Really lengthen your neck out on your mat, and then take that into some chin nods. So you're pressing a little bit with the back of your head into the mat. It's another way to grow taller, and squeeze the shoulder blades together. Hopefully you'll feel that whole spinal column and those small muscles working together. Okay, add some activation in the core and squeeze your ball or cushion between your knees. And so from head to knees, you've got a whole bunch of activation happening, coordinating the system. Inhale, relax it. Exhale, chin nod, all of these pieces. Let's do that 3 more times. 2 more times, and 1 more time. Great. From here, lift your arms towards the ceiling and squeeze those shoulder blades together. We're going to do rib cage arms, so I don't want your rib cage to flare here. As you lift your arms overhead, knit the front of your ribs together. And then bring your hands down to your hips here. And up to the ceiling, overhead, and down. You have to choose the metaphor that works for you. Some clients love thinking of their rib cage as a bird cage. And you don't want the doors to that bird cage to be open. So as you lift your arms overhead, keep those doors closed. Good. 2 more. Traditionally, we inhale on the way up, exhale on the way down. Okay, now let's bring your hands back up towards the ceiling. Similar exercise to when we were seated. Right hand goes up, stays reaching to the ceiling, left comes to meet it, right goes down towards the floor, left comes down. Let's switch sides. Left leads, right meets it, left comes down, right comes down. Right goes up, left goes up, right goes down, left goes down. If you're mixing up right and left, no biggie. I just want that reach, and then lower, squeezing that shoulder blade down towards your back pocket as you bring that arm back down to the floor. I love it when people do these on a foam roller. Gives you a lot of awareness when the thoracic spine arches. Okay, we're gonna do both hands at the same time now. Reach both sets of fingertips up towards the ceiling, keeping those abs on, and then squeeze those shoulder blades together. And then reach, and then squeeze the shoulder blades together. We'll go 4, and 3, squeeze, and 2, and last 1. Okay, another one to check that your hands are not gonna hit any kind of furniture or wall. I'm going to send my left hand down to my hip, my right hand overhead. These are called helicopters. And then circle those arms around, then up to the ceiling. They'll pass by each other, and you'll continue with that same pattern. Good. Okay, keep breathing. Keep that powerhouse activated while all this fancy arm movement's happening. The next time your hands pass by you and reach for the ceiling, reverse direction. So now my left hand is up towards the ceiling, my right is down towards my hip. I'm gonna half circle them, and they pass by each other again. This is a bit of mind-body coordination here. Don't worry, you'll get it if you keep practicing it. It can be confusing, but that's part of why we do it. Now bring your hand on up to the ceiling. Flare your fingertips to the sides of the room. Check your shoulders are away from ears, that ears and shoulders aren't close together. and then open until you feel that nerve stretch along your forearms and wrists and maybe elbows. Then fingertips come back together, lead the way in, fingertips meet overhead, and then flare fingertips to the sides of the room. And back and forth you go. Even though you're flaring fingertips, don't let that rib cage flare. Keep working the core there. Good. And 2 more. Okay, go ahead and bring your legs into tabletop. If you have a ball prop or cushion, you can rest that to the side for now. Okay, and then I want you to notice what your low back is doing here. If you're able to maintain neutral without it going into low back muscle work, that's great. Otherwise, I want you to lengthen and imprint your lumbar spine into the mat here. And we're gonna do heel lowers. So I'm just starting in that tabletop, lowering my right heel about 4 inches, and now my left heel. And I only go down as far as I can keep my back imprinted, and the work is in my core. So I'm lifting this foot up from my lower abs, lifting this foot up from my lower abs. Good. And then as you're feeling like, I got this, I need a little more challenge, well, then you lower your heel even more. Just careful that it's not all about hip flexors, and then we're working that lumbopelvic stability so we don't go into our low backs. My hands are by my sides here, and I'm actually going to press into the mat a bit, get that lat stability helping me out. Okay, and really activate that lower core. We're going 6 and 5, 4, 3, and 2, and 1. Okay, take your hands, knit them together like you're making a little hand hammock, and then you're gonna press them against your right thigh and then switch to your left thigh. Hopefully you'll feel that core activation as you press your thigh into your hands and your hands into your thigh, and that resistance work here. This is a great alternative to upper ab curls on the days you're having, say, a bad neck day or a bad back day, or if you have osteoporosis and your doctor's told you not to do spinal flexion. Okay, and let's go 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. All right, from here, just let your legs or your feet drop on down to the floor. You have a couple options here for props. If you want some added inner thigh work, you can put a ball or cushion between your knees. If you have a TheraBand and want some glute med work, which Faith, I think you usually love this one to support your knee health, you can take a TheraBand and either, if it's just a one band TheraBand that's not connected, you can just tie it around your knees. I have these circular bands for my knees instead. It's a little bit of a shortcut. Okay, and then you're going to press your palms into your into the sides of the mat here. We'll start with your bridges. Lifting and lowering is one piece here. For more difficulty, walk your heels closer into your bottom. Okay, and then when you're lifted up in your bridge, you want to check that it's one line from shoulder to knees, that your hip bones aren't breaking that line. And if your ribs are too popped up, that'll break the line too. So I want those ribs still knit together and the hip bones fairly high. Palms are pressed into the mat. I'm weight bearing on my shoulders, not my neck. Lowering is one piece because I'm still doing stability bridges. When you land, make sure the thoracic spine is down with you. Don't want that chest flare where those thoracic vertebrae are lifted. Good. Okay, trying to use that whole corset set of muscles in my abs and that front set of abs, the 8-pack, and then lifting up and holding with the glutes and hamstrings here. Pause at the top, and if you have a ball, squeeze it 5 times. If you have a band around your knees, press out 5 times. Try not to roll out on the ankles though. Last one, and then come on down as one piece. Let's do that for 3 more sets. Up and out or squeeze in. And 2 and 1. Awesome. And down. All right, still check your form when you lift, that your ribs aren't too high, your weight bearing on shoulders. 1 line between knees to shoulders. And 1 more. Good. Okay, 1 more set here. At the end of this set of 5, you'll take it into typewriters. 2, 1. Typewriters being where your hip bones are the same height and they slide left and right. Press into your palms. That will give you a bit more stability, that this movement is manageable. Try and keep your knees in the same place. I don't want knees going back and forth like that. I want just hip bones. Woo. And then check on your low back here. You may have come out of your neutral or pelvic tilt. Okay, and then pause. We're gonna lower as one piece here. Hug your knees to chest. Move any props if that is bothering you at all. And then you're gonna take your knees in some circles around your hips here. And then reverse. Oh, this feels good. Okay, 1 more option here. I want you to circle your knees not connected. So it's like they're doing their own circles, like you're stirring something. And then circle the other way. Great. Okay. Coming back on down for a few more bridges. If you're okay with spinal flexion, take these into your mobility bridges where you're lifting and lowering 1 vertebrae at a time. Otherwise, stay with the lifting and lowering as one piece, the stability bridges. Okay, I'm gonna have you lift on up. If you can be nice and high in the hips, great, which would be that 1 line from shoulders to knees. And then I'm pressing into the palms, you'll need it. Let's take it into marching. I'm going slow enough that I can keep my hips still. When I press 1 foot down, I really press into the heel and get the hamstring firing, and then lift the opposite leg. If you feel this at all in the low back, come down much lower. Bring your hips much lower here. And think of powering through that back line of your tush and your legs, not your low back. And then of course, core, core, core. All right, we've got 8, 7, looking good. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Even out right to left, lower, okay. And then hug knees to chest 1 more time. Okay, if you have a band on, it's a good time to take it off. We'll revisit that later. Let's go into a glute stretch here. So take your right ankle over your left knee. And then if you need more stretch, you'll press out on the right knee and you can pull in behind the left thigh. So maybe something like this. And I'm now pressing out with my elbow against that right knee. Okay. Two more nice long breaths. Okay, and then switch which side you're doing your figure 4 on. So for me, that's now my left ankle over my right knee. Gonna hug behind my right thigh and press my elbow out on the figure 4 leg, my left knee here. Get a bit more stretch. All right, try a double inhale, exhale breath. And a triple. One more long breath as you slowly come out of this. Okay, go ahead and roll to your side. And then make your way to all 4s here. So we're going into quadruped. It's a good time to move any props and stuff out of the way. Grab a drink of water. If you, have uncomfortable knees in this position, feel free to change things if you need to pad your knees. And then I'll say the same too about your wrist. You can always roll up your mat and make a little pad for your wrist. It doesn't bother me if you're on your elbows instead too. Just try and find a prop. It's really nice and safe that you can prop your elbows up on. One last adjustment you can make is being on your wrist here, okay? And then when we're on our wrist or on our fist, you're gonna have the pits of your elbows towards each other. If that inside of your elbow is shining up and forward, that's usually a hyperextended position. So protect your joints here. Okay, so knees are under hips, wrists are underneath shoulders. Squeeze the shoulders together and let that rib cage drop to the floor. This is your sternum drops. Back and forth here. Nice big inhale when you lift into the rib cage, which is more of a pushing through the palms, and then squeezing of the shoulder blades together. Let's go for 2 more and 1 more. Now take it into cat. Nice big back arch here. And cow, if you have any spine precautions, follow those through your body here. When you're in that cow, slide the shoulder blades down the spine, get those back line of the body muscles working for you. And just notice where you're stiff here. Don't take it too big. We want to think length in both directions. Okay, and then you're gonna pause halfway between cat and cow here. And that's usually neutral. So I've got a bit of a spine curve in my neck, my cervical spine, and then in my lumbar spine here too. Pretty pressed into my palms as well. My core is activated. So let's take this into tail wag. Gonna look out towards my right, and then over my left shoulder, still at my right foot, and back and forth. Try and keep that knee on the mat, and look over your shoulder, not under your armpit, if that makes sense. So if you can't see your foot, that's okay. I just want you looking over the shoulder. And then we're gonna switch legs. Good. See if you can feel those oblique abdominals stretching and working. It's okay to stretch the back. I don't want the back muscles creating the movement though. And last one. Good. And then just to strengthen the wrist and get a little bit more balance and muscle work out of this, take it into some small circles and keep it slow and controlled. Going a bit out, still weight bearing to your right, upwards, left, and then down towards your feet, and switch directions. Check that your powerhouse is still working and supporting you. Good. Okay, widen your knees and then sit back on your feet in your rest pose here for a second and really reach your hands and your fingertips away from you. Get as much stretch as is reasonable and comfortable for you. One big breath here. Okay, and then I'm gonna have you guys take this into plank. Let's go into plank on our elbows. So I'm starting here on my elbows and shoulder blades squeezed together, and then I'm gonna tuck my toes under. If this is a lot of work for you to be on your knees, just stay there. Otherwise, step into that right foot and step into that left foot. And we'll hold here for 3 long breaths. Almost there. And then knees come down. Walk your knees a bit under your hips here, and then palms are now going to be weight bearing. You're going to press up into them so you're back to quadruped here. From here, let's start doing some movements that prep you for bird dog. So I'm going to lift the right hand 4 times. My aim here is not to disrupt my outline. So I'm here and I think of being rectangular between points of shoulders and hips, and then lifting that arm without disrupting that outline. Okay, And then let's do the same with just the left leg. Be careful of any furniture or walls again here. So even though you're weight bearing on that right knee, we want to try and have our outline as if we have all 4 limbs on the ground. Pause with that leg lifted and turn the toes into your midline, and little pulses here, trying to use the back line of your legs and not your low back. Really work that core connection, pulling the belly to the spine here. 2 more reps and come back on home here. Okay, finding that all fours position again. Now lifting the left arm, just sweeping it by you maybe, and squeeze those shoulder blades down the spine. That was the last one with the left arm. And now we'll go right leg. So I have a pretty slow cadence here. It's very deliberate and controlled. This guy is not about speed. It's a lot of pieces to activate. I'm gonna hold this one out here. Check that core is really working, and try and relax the low back and turn the toes into midline, okay? And then pulses here. Recruit through the glute and the hamstring, not the low back. Keep working that powerhouse for 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, bring that knee back underneath. If it's possible for you, come to kneeling, give your wrists a little shake out. We're gonna go back into that all fours position and do diagonal lines. So left leg and right arm, left arm and right leg, okay? If you feel like that is, you know, just not where you're at today, just do the leg piece and keep the hands on the mat. Okay, so coming back to here, again, feel free to modify and being on your elbows. I'm gonna lift my right hand, left leg, and then pause out here, really try and find that balance, which is between these 2 stabilizers, and then bring that back in. See how much you need to adjust to be on all fours, and then if you can go back out. I'm gonna have us go out a couple more times, but when you're out here, really reach toes and fingertips away from each other. Find that length and find that core connection, and in and out. Good. Going out and reaching, reach, 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 and coming back home. One more time on this diagonal. And reach, 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 pull that belly to spine. Good. I know those can be terribly awkward. They get better with time. Reestablishing that all fours, and now it's left arm and right leg. Pause out here and then reach the right toes and the left fingertips away from each other, finding that core connection, and back home and out and in. For 4, I'm exhaling as I go away. Very gentle inhale on the way home. This is 2 and 1. Okay, widen your knees again and take this back into your child's pose. And then lift up your wrist and anchor your elbows into the mat and just kind of move the wrist around. Get them some flexion and extension again. Okay, and then come on out of that. With all this home, doing workouts at home, planks are just such an incredible tool, and so much of it is dependent on your wrist strength, so, and your forearm strength. So I'm gonna have you guys bring your hands out in front of you. You there? Okay. And then squeeze the shoulder blades together. Try and not have that line of lift or support through the neck. And then, do you see how I'm bending my wrist here? I'm gonna have you do that and go overhead here. Hopefully feeling some stretch in the top of the forearm and muscle engagement. And then just keep repeating. And it's a little baffling how something so simple can create so much fatigue. Just keep wondering and being curious about where you're activating. Low in the shoulder blades is my hope as your arms go overhead and not hoisting through the neck. 2 more times. And one more time. Okay. If you have a towel nearby, this is a good time to roll it up and make that little cushion for your forehead. We're gonna do some work in prone. If you have a squishy ball or a cushion that's about the same size, that will really help you. We did a similar series to this yesterday morning at 9, just for those of you that were there, and to make that connection. So I've got the blue ball under my boobs, basically, by your sternum. And from here, this is choice 1, I should say. Choice 2 would be just resting your forehead down like so. So either one. Okay, so you're here. And I just want you to lift your palms and squeeze that belly to spine as you do so. And I'm trying to get those muscles under my sports bra to really squeeze and lift, not my neck. And keep on going here. I think this one is such a nice prep for any kind of swimming too. Getting that whole back line of your body really strong. Careful you have not shortened in your low back, that there's no compression there. And with each rep, you activate the core and pull that belly button away from the mat. Okay, pause here with your hands lifted and take them out to the sides of the room. And then bend your elbows and bring them back. It's a little bit like, look, Mom, I can fly, bringing your wings back in. And you can always lower the pitch that you're at if your low back is getting involved. And we've got 3. Squeeze those shoulder blades together as you bring your elbows in. This is 2. And one last one. Good. Okay. Press your palms into the floor a little bit in front of your shoulders. And then lift up into your baby swan here. And then come back on down. And lift up into that baby swan. And come on back down. 3 more times. And one more time. Good. Okay, take that prop underneath your sternum away. And then reach your arms overhead. This is swimming. So let me back up here. So here are my arms, the same with my feet. They're really extended, nice and away from my body. You can rest your forehead on the towel if you want. I'm just gonna keep looking up at the screens at you guys. And go ahead and activate that core again and lift up your heels and then bring your feet back down. And notice if your low back complained at all. Probably means you're arching the low back and not using the core enough. So find the balance there. We want to lift the legs from the glutes and hamstrings here. You can think heels first and lower the toes. Okay, now let's do one leg at a time. Keep pressing those hip bones into the mat, pulling belly button away from the mat. So a bit of a push-pull going on there. Still activating through the back line of the legs here. Really talk to that glute, get that coordination down. Okay, and we're gonna lift opposite arm to that leg. So that diagonal piece again. So it's okay to feel the back line of the body working here. You just don't want to feel like the lumbar spine, and if you're familiar with a muscle called the QL, the quadratus lumborum, I don't want that taking over and doing all the work. I want a lot of frontline abdominal work and more things like your lats. Okay, and then speed it up here for me. So it's a bit double time. Inhale for 2, exhale for 2. I'm really trying to work you hard here, so deliver. This won't be forever. And then really speed it up, like triple time it. Really kick. Try to keep your knees nice and straight. And we've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. All right, you made it. Good job. That was a tough series there. Come up on your elbows like you're a sphinx here. If you get back feedback here, I'm gonna have you lower. Otherwise, this tiny bit of extension where you're shining your heart center out, abs on to support the low back. You're gonna kick the right leg twice and lower. Kick twice. As I straighten, that knee lifts as long as your back doesn't complain. And we'll do this 8 more times. Double kick, straighten and lower. This is 6 and 5 and 4 and 3. That lift of the knee actually comes from the glute and the hamstring. And I think this is bonus. And this is our last one. Great. Okay, let's go ahead and roll onto your left side. And I actually have my legs straight here. Okay, and then I'm gonna bend my knees so they're at the front of my mat. And I have one line from ear, shoulder, hip, and then my knees divert at about a 30 or 45-degree angle in front of me. If you want to pad up your head to be more comfortable, that's fine. You want to think of staying on this side, kind of like on a razor's edge, and then we can use your obliques more. Now, lift out of the bottom side of your body here, your left side. Think of picking that up off the floor. That's your challenge position. If you can be there the whole time, awesome. Okay. And with those bent knees, we start to clam. You can put your top hand on your hip bone. It's a real balance challenge to do that. You can also put your hand in front of you. And just careful that you don't let that top hip fly backwards. So when my knee lifts, I've really got to contract back here so the hip doesn't go behind me. And these are starting to look easier for you guys. Let's start taking it up a level. Good job. Okay, let's take this into fire hydrants. So now the knee and the ankle lift together. And we've got 7, 6. One reason I put this top hand on my hip bone is so that hip doesn't come into my rib cage. Gives me a little bit more tactile feedback, something called proprioception. Okay, and then pause up here with the knee and ankle lifted. That's about parallel to your top hip bone. And then bring your knee behind you and now in front of you. And you've got your core and your powerhouse really working, shrinking or expanding too much. It's just that femur moving around in the hip socket. Yep, should feel like a coordination challenge here. All right, 2 more. And last one. Okay, shake that out a bit. If you need to give yourself a little massage into that big glute muscle, that's fine. We're gonna keep going here. Building some muscle strength from stretching those muscles out. Okay, knee up like a clam. Now ankle comes to meet it. Knee comes down, ankle comes down. Knee up, ankle up. Knee down, ankle down. Yep. Just trying to throw off your brain here that get some better neuromuscular programming to build. Okay, and then pause with your knee and ankle lifted. Let's switch that. Ankle down, knee down. Ankle up first, knee up. Ankle down, knee down. Okay, we're leading with the ankle here. One more time, ankle up, knee up. Knee down. You can start with your feet in front of you at that 45-degree or 30-degree angle here. If you want it more difficult, then you straighten those legs in line with your hips. And then let's lift both feet here. Okay, we're going to go 8 more times here. Notice I've now put my top hand in front of me to help with balance. I want to keep those hip bones stacked, and the same with the shoulders. And 4, exhale, really activate through the core, pull that belly to spine. This is 3, and 2, and 1. Good. Okay, you can bring that top foot onto the mat in front of you and then bend that bottom knee, and this will help you find your glute stretch. This is the figure 4 side lying. Good, 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 good. One more breath here. And then unwind. And you're going to take it over to the other side. So I do this flip-a-roo maneuver so that you can still see me. It's useful for you guys too, so you can still see your device and what the class is doing. Okay, so starting in my chin nod, it's up to you if you make a cushion for your head or you lie on your bicep, whatever your norm is. And then ears, shoulders, hips are in one line. I think of picking up a little bit in the bottom of my abs or my rib cage here off of the floor, and I'm doing clams the whole time here. Okay, and we'll go 4, 3, 2, and 1, and then 10 fire hydrants. That top hand can go on your top hip so that that hip doesn't go into your rib cage. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, you're gonna shake that out, let that guy rest a second. And then we'll go knee up, knee down, ankle down, knee up, ankle up, knee down, ankle down. Good. Okay, let's switch it up. Ankle goes up first, knee comes to meet it, ankle goes down first, knee comes to meet it. Ankle up, ankle down, knee down. Try not to let that top hip bone move back and forth. You want stability in your trunk. This will be your last rep, this style. Good. Okay, and then straighten your legs. And you can bring your ankles a bit in front of you, maybe towards the front of the mat here. Top arm can stabilize you on the floor, and then lifting both feet up and together. Good. Exhale and lift. 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Great job. Okay, shake that guy out a bit, and then you can bring that top foot in front of your bottom knee. Bottom knees come forward a bit here. Good. Okay. And then pressing out on that top knee if you need a little bit more glute stretch. One more big breath. Okay, and then if you have a TheraBand or some hand weights nearby, let's finish up with a little bit more arm work. I have something to tether mine against, which is my foot bar. But if you have a handle or something that you can tether your TheraBand to, do that. Or a piece of furniture that you have 100% faith will not move on you. And knotting it is probably not good enough. I really want it secure. Endeavor to have both sides of the TheraBand the same length, but if they're not, you can still work with it. If you don't have something to tether your band to, what you can do is wrap it around your feet. So let me show you what that looks like. That's doing something like this. And if you were in yesterday's class, it's pretty much the same material, okay? So if you are cleared for spinal flexion, that you don't have any osteoporosis issues, you can do this whole series rolled halfway down to here in that C curve, okay? Feel free to ask any questions. I'm gonna hold my bands like so. So the long end goes through my pinkies and then that loose end comes out of my thumbs. Okay, so you can either be sitting up tall if you need to bend your knees, no problem. If you're here, I want you feeling your sit bones 90 degrees into the mat. If you're halfway down, long and round in that spine, okay? And then we'll take this into some bicep curls here. Good. Careful you're not bringing your shoulders forward. And then if you want more of a challenge, bring your elbows up and leave them high. So this is how I want these. I don't want this. Better, we're getting there, okay? And let's go 4, squeeze those shoulder blades together. 3, slow return home. 2, slow return home. And 1, slow return home. Okay, take your fist and point them either towards your feet or the opposite end of the room. This is a different way to do rows. And if you need more weight, just hold tighter up on your bands. Squeeze those shoulder blades together. If you're familiar with the rhomboids, I want you to activate there. And then bring your fist towards you, straighten out your arms. Good. If you find you're bringing your elbows way behind you, hold tighter on the band. Only want you coming elbows just in front of the rib cage, not past the rib cage. And then slowly release, trying to control that release with the muscles between the shoulder blades. And we've got 3 and 2 and 1. Okay, a little looser on the bands. Coming back to a nice open position here. And my elbows are bent, but my forearms and my upper arm are parallel to the ground. I can already tell I need to loosen here. And then you're gonna lift your fist up and lower. Still sitting tall. This is not a C-curve variation. And up, okay? And I've gotta do it slowly or else I go into my neck. Really gotta think and activate and talk to those different muscles. For 3 and 2 and 1. Great. Okay, so that was a good amount of arm work. Let's add a little rotation into this. I'm only holding on to that right side. The left side you can hold on to too if your band is moving because it's around your feet. And you're gonna rotate and look over your right shoulder. And then extend that arm back out straight and then rotate, okay? Let's do that on an exhale. Sit tall on those sit bones. And 5, 4, 3, 2, and last one. And now we're going to take that over to the other side. Good. So I'm opening up the front of my rib cage and my chest as I'm doing these and doing that thoracic rotation. I keep catching myself cheating and leaning slightly back. You need to stay sitting upright on the sit bones. Bend the knees if you need that support and distance in your hamstrings. 3, 2, last one. Good. Okay, and then shake that out. Let's stretch the hamstrings from here. So definitely have a band or a rope or a yoga strap over your right foot is how we'll start it, okay? And then you're just gonna pull on that band until you feel that stretch back here. You can also reach for that foot and flex the ankle and get the calf in there at the same time. I'm not feeling like that's satisfying enough of a stretch. Imagine you guys have the same predicament. Let's go ahead and lie on our backs and then bring that foot up towards the ceiling. And you'll get more stretch there. Yeah. Okay, and then point and flex at the ankle. And that's a nerve glide for the sciatic area. You only want to do 4 or 5 of those. Okay. And then straighten your bottom leg. For me, that's my left side. Anchor into the heel. And then bring the leg in the air. For me, that's my right side, over to your left. And this is your IT band stretch here. And you can move your foot around a bit in order to find this a similar stretch down through your calf. One more deep breath into the right side of your body. Okay, and then bring that foot up in the air and let's thread the right foot in there as well. Excuse me, the left foot in there and take the right out. And then anchor the heel into the mat, and that left foot is reaching up towards the ceiling, finding that hamstring stretch. If you can flex the ankle, you'll get a calf stretch in there as well. The support through the TheraBand or the rope, try and have that line of pull go through the bottom of your shoulders again, and that shoulder shelf, shoulder girdle area, not up into the neck. Okay, and then point and flex the toes here 4 to 5 times. And then your IT band stretch here. That ankle goes over to the opposite side of your body across the midline. This is my left IT band stretching, so my left hip bone is still anchored on the floor. And then I can move my foot around, seeing if I can get some side calf stretch in there. Okay. All right, make your way to a kneeling upright position. I like to help you guys stretch out your hip flexors. This can be hard on knees. So a couple things you can do is roll up your yoga mat or a towel to put it under your knee or something like that. And then you can also be near a wall or a coffee table, so you can lean against that and take some of the weight off. Okay, so I'm on my right knee and then quite weight bearing on my left foot here. Starting at these more 90 and upright degree angles and then coming forward. And again, you can be holding on to something here. If you're seeking more stretch, then you can lift up your arms. Just notice if your hip bones are even. I don't want you twisting while doing this or hiking a hip bone. Really reach up and out through your fingertips and your shoulders here. And then slowly arms come down somewhere you can support yourself. And then you'll switch legs, move around any towels or padding to support the left knee now. Good. And then make your way to that stretch in the front of the left hip. Okay. And then reach up to the ceiling if that's your jam today. I find I really need this stretch because there's so much more sitting involved with our lives right now than sitting at the computer. So try and bookmark this in your mind to do later today again. Okay. And then make your way to standing. This is the fancy, strong way to do that. Okay, standing hip distance apart, take it into your standing roll down here. See if you're any closer to the floor, where you feel nice and warm and stretched out and kind of gooey. See if you can maintain that throughout the day and stack on up. And you're welcome to do one more roll down here. And hey, you've gotten your workout out for the day. Hopefully you'll get a safe walk-in somewhere where you're social distancing. But thank you all for joining me. Tomorrow I'll be doing a class at 9, but it's through the JCC Zoom system, and they have sent out emails about that. If you need any information about that, you can ask me, I can resend it to you. I think they kind of garbled it. And then Thursday and Friday's class, I want to do more on the legs. And we'll be doing some standing things. And there's a couple props you can have ready in advance. These are sliders, which are like a fancy thing to purchase. If you don't have them, don't worry. Just have a towel. This is just a good old washcloth so that you can slide on one leg here. Okay, and it'll be somewhat like the standing work at the reformer. These guys really only work on carpet anyways. I'm on this sticky mat and it's harder to use. So one other hack I have, I guess you could use a handkerchief, that would be nice and slippery. If you've ever seen these rain boot socks, I found that those make excellent sliders as well. So we'll keep working back here. This will be great for knee health, low back health as well, to get all of that nice and strong. All right.